viewing on cable and the different social media platforms. I will now call this third day, fourth regular session, and I'd like to ask that we all please rise. Excuse me, emergency session. That we all please rise for a moment of silence. Thank you, colleagues. I'd now like to recognize the clerk to please call the roll.
Representative Fata,
Present.
Representative Fatal,
Present.
Representative Selena Babauta,
Presente.
Representative Sheila Babauta,
Gaya.
Representative Joel Komatsu,
Gaya.
Representative Vicente Komatsu,
Present.
Representative Pan,
Stiga.
Representative Flores,
Present.
Representative Guerrero, Representative Lizama, Representative Magovnia, Representative Manglotnia,
Present.
Representative Probst,
Present.
Representative Christina Sablan,
Present.
Representative Jean Paul Sablan,
Istigat.
Representative Cindy Claus,
Present.
Representative Staffler,
Present.
Mr. Speaker,
Hello.
Representative Yanktamai, Representative Yumo,
Present.
Mr. Speaker, all 20 members are present.
Thank you, clerk. With all 20 members present, it constitutes a quorum. Now I'd like to recognize the floor leader for the motion for the emergency declaration. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And pursuant to Rule 3, Section 6 and 7, and I, I move that the House agrees that an emergency exists, and the reason for finding that an emergency exists is for pressing and urging need to address fiscal year 2023 budget, which appears on today's agenda as Conference Committee Report 22-2. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made for the emergency declarations for reasons stated by the floor leader and has been seconded. Any discussion? Ready? Just a reminder, members, again, 14 is the number, 2/3 to declare the session an emergency. So I now recognize the clerk to please call the roll.
Representative Fata, Representative Fatal,
Yes.
Representative Selena Babauta,
Hungan.
Representative Sheila Babauta,
Hungan.
Representative Joel Komatsu,
Ungan.
Representative Vicente Komatsu,
Yes.
Representative Damapan,
Again.
Representative Flores,
Yes.
Representative Guerrero, Representative Zala,
Yes.
Representative Magovnia, Representative Manglotnia,
Yes.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Christina Sablan,
Yes.
Representative Jean Paul Sablan,
Ungan.
Representative Cindy Claus,
Yes.
Representative Staffler,
Good.
Representative Yanktamai,
Our.
Representative Yumo,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
Hungan.
Mr. Speaker, all 20 members voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. With all 20 members voting yes, the House has established emergency declaration. We now move down to item number 2, public comments, and the floor is open for anyone out there in the gallery or the lobby. Please, if you will give your public comments, please state your name and the entity you represent. Thank you. I see that there is none for public comments. And with no objection, members, I'd like to move down to item number 13 on our agenda, reports of special and conference committee. And I'd like to recognize the floor leader for the proper motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now offer a motion for the adoption of conference committee report number 22-2, reporting on House Bill number 22-116 HD2 SS1, entitled to establish the budget plan for the operation and activities of the government of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, each agency's instrumentalities and independent programs, and to provide budget authority for the government corporation for fiscal year 2023 and for other purposes. Your conference committee recommends the passage of the bill in the form of House Bill. Conference committee recommends the passage of the bill in the form of House Bill number 22-116 HD2 SS1, CCS 1 to read to make appropriations for the activities. To make appropriation for the operations and activities of the government of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, its agencies, instrumentalities, and independent programs, and to provide budget authority for the government corporation for fiscal year 2023 and for other purposes. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made by the floor leader to adopt conference committee report number 22-2, and it has been seconded. Any discussions on the floor? Ready? Short recess real quick. I will rise back to session. Before we went on recess, we just wanted to make sure to get clarification that upon adoption of this conference committee report, that the budget bill as prepared by the conferees from both the House and the Senate will pass the House. So a motion was made by the floor leader to adopt conference committee report number 22-2, and it has been seconded. The floor is open for discussions. Recognize Chairman Manglonia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And just before we proceed with comments on the bill, I'd like to just briefly discuss the actions that the committee took to coming up with this final product and open the floor to the members should they have any questions in regards to the actions. The conference committee I guess to begin, we wanted to revert back to how the appropriation has always been made in regards to the title, as well as um, using the different terms between allocate and appropriate. And so we reverted back to how it has always been. And so that was one of the first major steps we took to change the budget plan to appropriations, and then change all allocate words to appropriate. The next thing that we wanted to address was the main issues that the committee or that the House brought up in regards to ensuring that funding sources were identified to address the Medicaid matching, the retirees 25%, the reprogramming power to address these activities, the liaison office, as well as find out how much in CDL is available so that we can use those sources to cover these activities. Another thing that we also wanted to address was the equitable adjustment that was proposed in the ARPA plan, which proposes to set aside $881,000 to fund the salary increases for cabinet members and special assistants and project managers. The committee had proposed and the Senate had agreed to go ahead and reallocate the funds that were set aside for that activity to all the four mayors, Rhode, Saipan, Tinian, and Northern Islands. We also wanted to And so the language for for example, for the liaison office was stricken. The just a minor amendment. We added an FTE to the first senatorial district. And then what's included in the committee report is the letter from the Secretary of Finance identifying the CDL as a funding source to address the Medicaid and retirees. Members, again, the 80-20 was never really the issue. It's not who gets 80% of what, whether it be through ARPA or through the general fund. The goal of the committee, the House committee, was to address the 25%, the Medicaid, and so without knowing what additional resources were available, it was a challenge of the committee to find those funds, and in doing so, we identified the 20 million from the Medicaid reimbursement. But after hearing from the Secretary of Finance during his statement yesterday, those funds weren't available, and so the secretary had identified 20 million from the CDL. Now I know we've mentioned that based on the fund status report that we received from the Secretary of Finance, only 36,000 was available. However, if you look in the report, there was 20 million that was spent for the COVID response, and because those were approved for reimbursement, the money that we'll be getting from FEMA will then be given back to CDL, and then those funds will be reserved and set aside for the Medicaid retirees, as well as to help provide additional funding to the judiciary and the legislative branch. And so that was another provision that we agreed upon, and that was to, under the Senate's version of the funding set aside for Medicaid, we added the retirees because the CDL will be the funding source for that activity. And so, members, I just want to take this time to extend my appreciation to the rest of the conferees. I'd like to thank Representative Selena Babalta, Floor Leader Ralph Humel, and the alternate Vice Speaker Atal, along with the Senate counterparts, in trying to address the major concerns that we brought up, as well as to extend that appreciation to the staff of the legislature in assisting so that we can get this product out quickly and smoothly. And so here we are today, considering this budget for this new package for adoption. But again, I wanted to remind the general public that their salaries were never at risk. As I've stated in the past session, I was hopeful that we will come to an agreement quickly so that we can get this budget transmitted. Again, all of this could have been avoided had we been given proper reports, had we been, had the secretary communicated all these additional resources that we are expecting to receive. We could have addressed all these issues early on, but for whatever reasons, it took the conference committee to meet with the Secretary of Finance to get the same information that the Senate has given to the House members to make the final determination. And so whether it was 50-50 ARPA general fund, that wasn't really the issue. The issue was ensuring that our obligations and our promises to all these to our people are kept. And so with that, members, again, I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you guys for sharing your concerns, and those concerns were brought up to the Senate and addressed in this conference committee. And with that, I would like to yield to any members who have any questions regarding the actions of the conference committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Manglonia. The floor is still open for discussion. Recognize Representative Tina Sablan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to extend my sincere and deep appreciation to the members of the conference committee, Chairman Manglonia, Chairwoman Babalta, and Floor Leader Yumo, and as well as to the staff of the Legislative Bureau and your counterparts in the Senate for all the hard work that went into these negotiations these last couple of days. We are here at the very end of the fiscal year, but hopefully we can get this bill transmitted to the governor today and avoid a shutdown and people can come back to work on Monday. I do recognize that when it comes to the budget, there is never any such thing as a perfect product that everybody is happy with. The bill before us, like most budget bills are, represents the result of compromise and give and take. And so, while I am a bit disappointed that certain provisions that were in our version of the budget, such as the tobacco and sugar sweetened beverage tax provisions, have been removed from the bill, I do understand that that is the nature of this budget process. And with respect to revenues that we should still look at raising for CHCC to support medical referral, hospital operations, and public health initiatives, I do hope that this legislature in this term will move forward with at least both of those two measures, tobacco taxation and SSBs. I am above all truly pleased that the conference committee was able to ensure funding for the key concerns that the House raised that the administration appeared to have neglected in their budget proposals, the Medicaid local match in particular, and as well as government operations and the retirees' 25% portions. After we received further information and assurances from finance in writing that there will be funding to support all of these three key priorities. I'm also really pleased that the inequitable salary increases that the governor proposed for cabinet members have been removed from this budget and reallocated, and that the proposals to give the governor expanded reprogramming authority and to create these unnecessary and duplicative liaison offices, that both of those proposals have been struck out. And again, thank you to the conference committee for your tremendous work, and I am ready to vote in support of this bill.
Thank you, Representative Tina Sablan. The floor is still open for discussions. Are we ready? All right. Anybody? Members, a short recess real quick. back to session. Um, Before we went on recess, we were ending discussion. And on recess, we just needed some further clarification regarding the rules of the House. So with no further discussions, and before we go to the roll call for the vote, I'd like to recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And with that, I offer a motion to suspend Rule 9, Section 13, rules pertaining to any 24-hour notices. So move.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made by the floor leader to suspend the pertinent rules for the 24-hour action on calendar regarding bills and committee reports, and it has been seconded. Any discussions on the floor? Ready? Okay, all in favor to suspend the rules, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The motion hereby passes. I now recognize, we're back to the main motion, which is the adoption of conference committee report number 22-2. And with no further discussions, I recognize the clerk to please call the roll.
Representative Fata,
Ungan.
Representative Fatao,
Yes.
Representative Selena Babauta,
Ungan.
Representative Sheila Babauta,
Ungan.
Representative Joel Camacho,
Ungan.
Representative Vicente Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Demapan,
None.
Representative Flores,
Yes.
Representative Guerrero, Representative Lazama,
Yes.
Representative Magovnia, Representative Mangolonia,
Yes.
excuse me, Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Christina Sablan,
Yes.
Representative John Paul Sablan,
Ungan.
Representative Cindy Claus,
Yes.
Representative Staffler,
Ungan.
Representative Youngtamai,
Awar.
Representative Yumo,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 20 members voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. With all 20 members voting yes, conference committee number 22-2 is hereby adopted, which also reflects that House Bill 22-116 HD2 SS1 CCS1 hereby passes the House. Thank you, colleagues. Yes. With that, colleagues, we'll now move down to item number 17, miscellaneous. Recognize Representative Selena Babauta.
Thank you, Speaker. When I, along with my esteemed colleagues from the House, under the capable leadership of our House Ways and Means Chairman, Representative Donald Manglonia, was appointed by Speaker Edmund Villagomez to be a part of the conference committee, I knew I couldn't turn down the opportunity to be a part of that process. Without hesitation, I gladly accepted because I knew that a government shutdown was not something or an option that I was willing to entertain. I was confident that an amicable and diplomatic process was possible. We, along with our Senate colleagues, rolled up our sleeves last night to work for a common goal, our people. As a result, we were able to avert a shutdown. Last night, when the conference committee began their meetings, concessions were made on both sides of the aisle, and it reflects the will of the people and delivered a product that will execute the mission I had in mind going in there, which was avoiding a shutdown and avoiding putting the livelihood of our government employees and retirees' lives in peril. Because failing to reach an agreement would have been unacceptable in my conscience. So what exactly is in this budget? There were at least 4 major contentions that the House conferees knew they were not willing to concede to. The House conferees stood firm that the approximately $881,000 in cabinet raises, salary increases be distributed to the municipalities, and the Senate agreed. They accepted that. The House conferees called on the Senate to stand down on their suggestion of a new liaison office under the Office of the Governor, and they yielded to our request. As to the retirees' 25% pension, the House conferees were adamant and insisted that a funding source be identified and the exact amount be identified by the Secretary of Finance to fully fund the 25% of retirees' pensions, not just for a quarter, but for the entire fiscal year. And along with that, it took care of any reprogramming language that the Senate inserted and the Senate acquiesced to this request. The House conferees were also firm that the funding source for the local match of the Medicaid be identified by the Secretary of Finance to fully fund it for the fiscal year, entire fiscal year, not just for the quarter. And we also required the Secretary of Finance to provide documentation of this assurance, and he delivered that letter last night, late last night, to the conference committee. Many other concessions were made on both aisles, and the product put forth is really a concerted effort by the members of the conference committee. I was very pleased to know that we both had the same goal in mind, was to lay down our arms and go in there to negotiate. And in any negotiation, one must give up in order to gain. We, as a bipartisan party, the conference committee, sacrificed our priorities so that our people would gain. They were our priority. And the bipartisan budget that we just adopted and passed is a testament of that. We have included more funding for the municipalities. We averted a shutdown. We took care of the retirees' full pensions for an entire year. And that to me is a win-win situation for the community we serve. I want to thank Speaker Villagomez for allowing me the opportunity to participate in that process, and also the understanding with our fellow conferees, both on the Senate and the House side. I thank Representative Donald Manglonia for his leadership. He really took charge of that meeting, and everything went smoothly. There was absolutely no resistance from the Senate counterparts. So I want to thank them as well. I yield, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Selena Babauta. Floor is still open under miscellaneous. Recognize Chairman Donald Manglonia.
Sorry, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just one last thing that I wanted to share, and that's my utmost appreciation and gratitude to the Ways and Means Committee. You know, in the beginning, we started off strong. We took what the governor had given us and tried to find all these areas that we can address with the limited funding resources we had at the time. You know, we took the time needed to ensure that the House has addressed a lot of the concerns that were brought up in the past in regards to funding sources and securing these funding sources, as well as taking out the reprogramming authority and trying to gain control back of the purse. And as I've stated earlier on, that this could all have been avoided had we been given accurate, real-time information in order to assist the members to make these decisions earlier on. While, you know, I understand that there's still 3 months left or 4 months left in this term. This coming from the committee is the last time we are coming across such a huge undertaking in trying to ensure that our government continues to operate. And so, you know, this could not have been done without the support and the commitment by all members of the committee, all the chairs of all the committees in the House, as well as Representative Joel Camacho, Representative Patrick Nicholas, the vice chair, as well as the floor leader, who was a member in the beginning, but made way to Rep. Karina to fill to be part of this committee. And so, again, thank you to the committee members. Thank you to the LA assigned to the committee, Claire Sablon, as well as the Giovanno and Cameron that assisted. And also, again, to our legal counsel, Joe Tyrone, who, despite being the lone counsel in the House, has made time for the committee, as well as to help assist other committees with their needs. And so with that, members, again, thank you sincerely. And with that, Mr. Speaker, thank you, and I yield.
Thank you, Chairman Manglonia. Floor is still open under miscellaneous. Ready? All right, we now move down to item number 18, announcements. No announcements. Recognize Representative Donald Manglonia.
Thank you again. Under announcements, we do have the San Francisco de Borja Fiesta next weekend. I hope all of you are, can find a time to come down and enjoy yourselves and apply for coconut crab license or deer licenses as the season is open. But that's just some revenue generating idea that I can think of right now. And so please come and support our local vendors as well as our municipality. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Manglonia. Recognize Representative Leila Staffler.
Thank you, Speaker and colleagues. I'd like to just let you know that Precinct 5 will be doing another basketball painting. I know it's been so long since we had those, but we are repainting Kegman 2 court. And if you are wanting to come down and check it out or get dirty and painted, come on down and join us. We'll be there from 8 o'clock till it's done. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Staffler. Anybody else under announcement? Recognize Representative Sheila Babalta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, fellows from the Environmental Justice Movement Fellowship out of the new school in New York City are here to visit the Mariana Islands. And we're here on Saipan for the next few days. They've been visiting many places around the island of Saipan. We were at Papao Beach yesterday, so thank you to Rep. Joel Camacho, Precinct 4, and all the agencies that keep our island looking fantastic. They've been having a great time, and we're working on building cohesion to address major issues that we are facing in the Marianas. And so I just wanted to share that with everyone. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Sheila Babalta. Floor still open under announcement. Ready? All right, we now move down to adjournment, and I recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and now offer a motion to adjourn subject to the call of the chair. So move.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made to adjourn the session, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? All right, all in favor to adjourn, please say aye. All opposed, stay. The ayes have it. Session's adjourned. Thank you, members.